It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. We got another video suggested by one of you guys. This one is from Dark 1859, and it's basically from somebody called Danny of the Fog. It says, I have 22,000 hours in Dead by Daylight. Stop playing to win. So I wanted to give my thoughts on it because I used to be a player that really focused on trying to win as much as I could, and now I'm just a player that doesn't even want to play the game. So like, this is great. So I guess it's technically not even a player at all. But regardless, I want to get my thoughts on it. Appreciate the suggestion. Original video is linked in the description. We're just going to talk about a couple talking points, not the full thing.
No one is going to remember your losses 6 minutes from now. They aren't going to remember that you got destroyed on a bad map or that you missed a window, but they will notice when you're a killer who eventually never misses. If you want to be an authority in the fog, you're going to stop caring about the scoreboard and start caring about your mechanics. If you have to be willing to look like a fool today so you can be a machine tomorrow, then that's more than worth it, because you are trading short-term feelings for long-term feelings. So the thing is, my gameplay right here, it took a while to get here, but I did not be afraid to miss Hellfurs. I did not be afraid to go for Wolf Pounds.
So I will say that I do ultimately agree with what is being stated in the video, because that's something that I was talking about since the start of, of this channel. And well, I guess the channel's around before that, but regardless, when I started posting DVD content, that's what it was about. I would look at my own gameplay and I would analyze it for you guys, so that whoever was learning killer could watch my gameplay, see my mistakes, and probably learn something, because I would explain why my mistake had caused me to either lose a hit, lose a game, lose whatever. And I would analyze that gameplay and kind of point out certain things and help me learn the game, and help hopefully other people learn the game. But obviously now we've transitioned into more commentary styled videos, as you guys know, because it just seems like more people are interested in the commentary aspects of the game as a whole. And I can say that even when I've tried to post more educational content, it just really doesn't seem that really that popular, which ties into which is my main point, I guess, is that despite the fact that it is true that you can get good at the game, you can get better at the game, you can be an authority, of course, according to the video, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I've kind of ascended past that, where it really doesn't matter about being some kind of authority or ascendant or whatever. It just does not matter at the end of the day, because keeping in mind that the game is not balanced around killers being actually having any agency or actually being fun to play. It's balancing around the survivor experience and trying to make the most money off of the game. So understandably, survivors offer the most money, especially if they're casuals that don't have a lot of chapters or don't have a lot of skins. They have the most potential for revenue for the game. So understandably, they're going to focus more on those players, because those are probably the more than likely to spend money. And so as a killer player, I understand that I'm not going to really be given anything when it comes down to updates, when it comes down to anything. I mean, we've seen it even in the past with killer updates. We pretty much have a bunch of killers that are bugged right now, have not been fixed, patched, nothing. We finally got a buff, quote unquote, and then the buffs were decimal point differences on things, barely like a 1% difference. Like Doctor, especially one of the weakest killers in that update, and he gets what, a half second? Like, what was it, 0.05 difference? I'm like, what the heck is that? Like, on Doc? And then they nerfed the add-ons regardless. So I was like, okay. So I'm like, okay, then that just does absolutely nothing for that character. And then Ghostface had what, a crouching speed increase, whoop-de-doo. Like, I don't really understand the point of that. You name it, basically, within that patch. And it's like, on one hand, I agree, like, yeah, you can get good at the game where it doesn't really matter. But I've also been there, and I've realized, like, it's still not fun. It's still not enjoyable to play the game. Because at the end of the day, there's still going to be something that you cannot counter. There's still going to be something you have no control over. There is still going to be something that it's completely out of your hands, regardless how good you are. It will always be out of your hands. We covered it previously with that Horser video, when it came down to the shoulder the burden deliverance thing. Shoulder the burden, pops off hook, runs right out the gate. 13 seconds it took them. Their endurance is 15 seconds. So whether he had M1'd him or not, they would have made the gate regardless. Especially on Nemesis. So in what scenario can you counter that? None. There's no way to counter that. The only response that people have, especially even with this video, is, oh, just play A tier, play S tier. It's like, not everybody likes to play those characters. Not everybody wants to play Blade, or everyone wants to play Kaneki, or not everyone wants to play Nurse, or not everybody wants to play, you know, whatever A tier you could think of. And it's like, some of us just want to play the characters we like. You know what I mean? Like, some of us are maybe Nightmare on Elm Street enjoyers, like myself. Like, I'm like, oh, I want to play Freddy. Or if you're like Chucky, I want to play Chucky. Or, oh, I want to play Myers or something like that. And maybe they're not even S tier. Maybe they're not very strong. Or even I want to play as a guy wearing the ghost face mask. Hey, I want to be able to do that. But all those characters are ass. They don't have any buffs. They're all useless. So I can't do better than what the limitations of the character is in that sense. And that's only, maybe that's my own specific experience. Maybe not everyone can share that experience because maybe, you know, they're still learning, or maybe they're still, you know, reaching their sort of threshold where they feel like they've hit the wall and they've kind of are at that level where they mastered the character at this point, and there's really just isn't much they can do even with their knowledge. Because I've kind of hit that with a lot of characters, especially when they reworked Pyramid Head, when they've reworked Myers, and then when they've what do you call it, reworked Freddy and stuff like that. Like, at a certain point, it's like all that knowledge I had is not applicable anymore, and relearning these characters is just not really that enjoyable because the game does not care if I'm actually having fun. So that's mainly where I'm coming from.
I did not be afraid to go for plays, because that's how you improve as a player and a person. I was taking so many shots that most people would never see. Take the Huntress for a perfect example, right? If you're playing the Huntress and you just walk up on a survivor and you M1 them, aka live click on them for the slap, because you're afraid of miss a hatchet and lose a Jane, then you're failing yourself. Yeah, you might get a hook, but you might even actually get a 4K, but you learned absolutely nothing. You didn't learn the lead, you didn't learn the hitbox, and you didn't learn how to pressure a loop.
Yeah, like I said, I do agree with that. That's not really wrong. In that sense, like, that is something you can do, but like, at least from my perspective, I've just hit that point where nothing that I'm doing really makes a damn difference. You know what I mean? The game in itself is just balanced around the power roll being the survivor side. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, where's my enjoyment? Where's my fun going to be coming from? Probably non-existent at this point. They're not really concerned with that. You know what I mean? That's just mainly what it is. But I want to hear what you guys think, of course, as well about the topic, because I think it's very interesting. I want to see if there's anything like additional that I might be able to comment on.
The ready button. If your ego is being afraid to fail in front of 4 other strangers, you're afraid they'll think you're bad. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. A master knows that every Ms. Hatchet, every failed mind game is data. If you spend the game M1ing because you're afraid to lose, you're stalling your evolution.
Yeah, I mean, I get that it's motivational. You know what I mean? I want to just quickly touch on that. I mean, I was talking about killer anxiety, and it's a very tricky thing because I think everybody experiences their killer anxiety a little bit differently. I think that overall, a lot of people sort of view, you know, a goal in their mind of what they want to get out of DBD, and I think that because of their had bad experiences and they hold on to that, their view on the game may be different than mine. Like, for me, I was sitting there thinking like, yo, every character I'm playing is automatically just a loss, because like there's just nothing these characters can do, especially because, you know, I'm not a master with like Nurse or Blight, you know, pre-nerf, so I can't even say I can get some W's and then switch back. Like, that's just not gonna happen because I don't know the character, so it's just an automatic loss. If I pick any of my mains, it's just automatic loss. Like, the game is so catered to the one side, it's like there really isn't a lot of room for me to perform in that sense. And so there's a lot of pressures, especially like when you're trying to stream it as well as a content creator and things like that. It's like you want to be able to perform well and show your skill, because it's like if you're a P100 of the character, you must know something about the goddamn character. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I think that added a bit of pressure to the experience. And obviously, you know, now I really don't care, but before that was the thing. But because of that, I think other people may experience it differently, because maybe they're like, oh, I wanted to practice, but then I can't even play, or I want to win with my favorite character, or I want to play my favorite character, but I know they're weak, so I'm just not gonna have fun, or something, you know, whatever have you. And it's hard to be able to give good advice for it because of how, like, not drastic, but how, you know, vastly different it could be for somebody else. So that's just where I've been at when it comes to that. But I want to know what you guys think, of course, about the topic at hand today. Do you think that it is worth actually trying to practice at this point, considering the day and age of DVD, or do you think that this is pretty motivational and you should just focus on not playing to win and more focusing on practice, like I've always been saying, to be fair? Let me know your thoughts. All right, become a member on YouTube or Patreon if you want to support, or even subbing on Twitch. I will see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members, Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not J-Lo, Evil Peach, Cargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.